Hey everybody, Tommy again. Last time we talked about the 10 Commandments. Could we talk about the first three a little more? I don't quite understand them. Can somebody help me out?
Great question, Tommy. In the first three commandments, God explains how we should think of Him in our lives. Kind of like how we think of our parents as our caretakers, or our friends as playmates, or a teacher teaching us new subjects in school. In the first commandment, God makes it pretty clear that He is the only God. There are no other gods but Him. The second commandment explains that we should not make up any other gods. We should have no idols. We should not think of anything else as important or more important than God. Things like friends or family or money. In the third commandment, we are told to respect even the name of God. We should treat it with the utmost importance and reverence when we say His name. After all, He did create us and the whole universe. His name deserves our respect. Our question for today is, what does God require in the first, second, and third commandments? The answer is, first, that we know God as the only true God. Second, that we avoid all idolatry. Third, that we treat God's name with fear and reverence. Here is our verse for today, Deuteronomy 6:13 through 14. It is the Lord your God you shall fear. Him you shall serve, and by His name you shall swear. You shall not go after other gods, the gods of the peoples who are around you. Now, let's sing a song to help us remember what we learned today.
What we see in the first three commandments is how we are to live in reference to and in light of the only true and living God. The first commandment tells us that we are to have no other gods but God. He is to be the exclusive object of our worship, the ultimate object of our love and desire. The second commandment is similar and tells us that we are not to worship God according to our own conception of God, what the Bible calls idolatry. The first, do not have any other gods. The second, worship God according to who He is and not according to who we want Him to be. In other words, do not worship false gods and do not worship God falsely. The third commandment is actually quite similar. We are not to misuse or mistreat the name of God. We know that God's name describes His character, the essence of His being, which is why He told Moses that His name is I Am. In other words, God is saying, my name is that I am self-existent and eternal. To not misuse the name of God doesn't merely mean that there are certain words we can or cannot say. It means that when we speak of God, whether through words or lifestyle, we are to fully honor and respect who He is. Let me talk a bit more about the first two commandments. Say, for instance, you believe in your heart that some goal in your life, prestige, a certain kind of job, a relationship with the person of your dreams will provide you with ultimate comfort and will answer your heart's desire for significance. And that in a daily functional way, you look to that goal to provide you with deeper comfort than God. That's a breaking of the first commandment. You've turned your goal into God. Prestige, a certain job, a person has become the object of your worship. The flip side is that if you worship God because you believe that He should provide you with comfort by providing the prestige, the job, the relationship that you desire and are looking for, that's also a violation of the commandments. You've imposed your conception of who God is on God. You've created a custom designer God, an idol. These first two commandments are that we worship God alone, and that we worship God as the true God and not worship a designer God or an idol. So why do these commandments insist on us worshiping God alone and worshiping God as He is and not as we want Him to be? Why is the third commandment so insistent on honoring and respecting His name and His character? It's because God created us with a desire for Him that only He can fulfill, that only He can answer. If we are always trying to change who God is or replace Him with something else, we'll never be at peace. We'll never experience true comfort, true significance, true joy. We'll never be whole. But if God is at the center of our lives, not another God or a revised version of God, but the true and living God, we'll be truly at peace. This is precisely why Augustine wrote, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they find their rest in you."